everyone. Welcome back to No More Secrets. As always, I'm your niece, Katie Albrecht.
And I'm your aunt, Mary Albrecht, and we are so happy to have our first guest of our season 5. Please, everybody, welcome Marisa Garcia over here on the left.
Woo!
Woot, woot, woot.
Thank you for having me.
And her
Thanks for
mother,
coming on.
Julie Garcia, on the right. Woot, woot.
Thank you for inviting us.
And it's kind of interesting how we met, because you've been a friend of my massage therapist here for decades, like long before she was even married, and have been a massage therapist client for a long time, but went to Sherry's home up in Spring Grove. Well, Sherry moved. She no longer has room for massage in her house, so you guys were forced to come to the fitness loft. I happened to be here. Julie was done with her massage. Marisa was in the massage room, and Julie and I are both very social people, and we started talking, and that's when I put 2 and 2 together, that you were the good friend whose daughter got cancer at age 17. And it was like ding, ding, ding. And then when you came out of the massage room, you were so open about it and so friendly, and that's how this whole date got arranged, and that I asked you if you'd be willing to share. And you have a great story of human resilience, and you want to help others. Am I correct on that?
Yes, completely, yeah.
So I guess what we really just need to start with is, like, how did you know you were sick? What were your symptoms? How did it start?
Well, it started when I was 17, the summer before my senior year of high school. I started kind of catching these random sicknesses that someone normally wouldn't get. I had gastroenteritis, whooping cough, and then a strange rash broke out, and they really weren't sure what any of this was. I went to the doctor. They were like, oh, this is kind of strange, but, like, you won't die, so, like, here's some medication, good luck, have fun.
Wow.
And I was, like, fine for a little bit, or I thought I was fine. And then I was bowling during the summer, kind of just had a normal summer. I was pet sitting full-time at the time again. Just kind of hanging out. Well, my neck started swelling up, kind of on, like, the right side. You couldn't even get to my jaw. You couldn't actually feel my jaw at all at one point. And
Was that tender to the touch, too, or no? Was it just swollen?
It was kind of just swollen. It didn't really hurt, like, to touch it.
Okay.
It felt weird. Like, it felt wonky, kind of. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
It wasn't painful. It was just awkward.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then,
It's probably a good indicator, because I've heard that with other kinds of cancer as well, that it's, like, not as, it doesn't hurt to touch it or something.
yeah,
like
it was
that.
weird.
Whereas, like, I've
feels
had
foreign.
strep, and it hurts to touch your
Yes.
tonsils if they're swollen. So that's a good indicator for people that are, like, searching it, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And after they kind of, saw that this was happening, my parents, my teacher, actually, what teacher was it? I think it was my science teacher, my science homeroom teacher.
Before you left school, like at the very end of school.
End
like
of
before the
junior
summer, like,
year,
Yes.
end of junior year of high
Yes.
school.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Told,
Said, oh, that's really weird.
yeah.
Like,
and
the teacher
so-
noticed it.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
That was on my neck.
Okay.
But the doctors were like, oh, it's just because you have whooping cough. Because, you know, when you get sick, your lymph nodes start to swell up because it's an indication of sickness.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they thought just because of my excessive coughing, that's why that was happening to me.
Okay.
But you were vaccinated for whooping cough.
Yes.
And that's when you thought, wait a second,
Something's
why
off
is it
about
so
that,
bad?
yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay. Anyway, so how did you finally get to a doctor that took a step further to be like, okay, this is more than just
Well,
infection?
it was actually my mom that pushed the doctor to figure that one out. Do you
Yeah.
want to
I
explain?
said, there's something wrong with my daughter, and we need to figure it out. This is not normal. We're not doing any more antibiotics. We need to figure it out. And thank my lucky stars that the doctor said, you know what, I completely agree with you, and you're the mom, so you have intuition, and you know. So let's figure it out. So
Good for you.
yes. So we finally got a referral to go see an ear, nose, and throat doctor. And he saw Marisa, and he didn't like that. And he said, can we do a biopsy?
Small incision biopsy.
So they did a little incision. They drew out And 3 days later, Tuesday afternoon, approximately 3 o'clock, I got the phone call. Is this Mrs. Garcia? Yes, it is. I hate to tell you this. Are you sitting down? Your daughter has cancer.
The words you never want to hear about your kid.
Right.
Yeah.
And now I'm at work, and now I like a million things are running through your head. And how am I going to get home? And I work an hour away. How am I going to drive home? How am I going to tell my daughter? Oh my God, I got to call my husband. Oh my gosh, what doctors? What do we do? Like on and on and on. Well, the doctor that I had pushed to go farther because I knew something was wrong, she actually called me when I got in the car to go home. And she talked to me for an hour and a half. And she said to me, I've called Lurie's Children's. I have talked to the best doctor that they have there. And her name is Dr. Joanna Weinstein. And they call her the Jewish genius. And that she is. She was phenomenal, and her whole team was phenomenal, which Marisa can attest to. We didn't know where to go. We didn't know what to do. But she said, I have an appointment for you at 11 o'clock tomorrow at Lurie's downtown.
Okay, so for the listeners, and we'll go back to Marisa here, we need to back up about how serious of a cancer this is, or was. It wasn't just, oh, well, you have a tumor and let's take it out. Go ahead and describe the cancer and what it entails.
Well, I was diagnosed with stage 3 Hodgkin's lymphoma, and that sometimes gets confused with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Non-Hodgkin's is actually worse. Worse to treat, worse for cure rates, and it's the one that you kind of see like on the commercials with like the having to do with like the pesticides and stuff.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So Hodgkin's and non-Hodgkin's are two different types of cancer. My Hodgkin's lymphoma was stage 3, and it was stage 3A, which means that it was not in my bones. If it's in bones. Yes, if it's stage B, it means it's in your bones.
Which is obviously worse.
But the stage A is, or stage 3 means it's all over, right?
Yes.
Which we did not know that
at the time.
No, we didn't know what stage 3 really meant until like the scan that they showed us like halfway in.
Something I've always wondered is like, when the doctor talked to you, did they say like this is treatable, or do they say this
first
is
thing
like
she walked
do they
in,
comfort you or anything, or is it just like, okay, this is what we have to do?
Well, the first thing that she said.
I did not tell her Tuesday night.
No, she didn't.
I
wasn't actually involved until the morning.
Was at home.
No, I wasn't. I was at Six Flags with my aunts.
Raging Bull, man, let's go.
And I said, I want her to get a good night's sleep. I don't want to tell her what she's going to do Tuesday night but cry. And Mario, which is her dad, and I needed to absorb this. And she also has a very close relationship with my mother, her grandmother. So I wanted to tell her. And she couldn't even stand up. She fell to it was awful. Anyhow, we told her Wednesday morning before we were getting ready to go Lurie's. We were up at 5. Well, we didn't sleep, but we were up about 5 a.m. And this is how she found out.
Yeah, that's important.
So it was like 5:30 in the morning, and I woke up to, first of all, the first red flag, both of my parents sitting on each corner of my bed staring at me as I wake up at 5:30 in the morning. I'm like, okay, well, there's obviously something wrong.
Oh my gosh, what a...
It was so scary. I was like, hello, good morning? Can I help you? But they were like, they didn't really beat around the bush. It was kind of like a little... like 5-minute conversation. I could already tell, like when I looked over and I saw my dad was like tearing up, I was like, oh God, there's something wrong. At first I was like, did the dog die? Like I didn't really know what was going on.
I can see that. That's probably where my mind would go to, is like something just really like terrible like that.
Yes. You know? And it's so interesting though, because one thing that I kind of want to like bring up really quick that went through my head like this entire time, like throughout my diagnosis and stuff, and like the first like half of my journey was like, how could this happen to me? Like that mentality of like,
sure,
of like, really, like this is my life and it's supposed to be good and great, and like how could this happen to me? And like you don't really think about this kind of stuff until it's happening to you. Like you see so many commercials for cancer on the TV, but like you don't notice all of them until it's happening to you.
Interesting.
It's so weird, and you're not like aware of all of like the like impacts it has on everyone around you, like either. But
So was
But
it?
did the 5-minute conversation say we're going to Lurie's?
Yes,
Here
it
we
pretty
go.
much was just like,
This is why.
good morning, you have cancer. We're going to Lurie's in an
You
hour.
want some pancakes
so...
like, or something? Yeah, like, just so.
I mean, there's not really a way to, good morning.
Bring a Pop-Tart, you know.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
oh,
Grandma's meeting us.
Yeah,
We're leaving
Grandma's
in
meeting
an
us. We're leaving
hour.
in an hour. We're going to Lurie's Children's Hospital in downtown Chicago
Wow.
to figure this out. You're going to have some tests done.
Was this
but,
on a weekday? Like, did you miss school for this?
Wednesday.
School hadn't started yet, actually.
Oh, it was in the summer? Okay.
It was before.
July 23rd.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you missed a couple classes or something. but-
No, it was actually like 2 weeks before I started school, I believe.
3 weeks.
Like 3 weeks, maybe. 3 weeks, about 3 weeks. But that was pretty much it. I remember the first thing I did was call my 3 closest friends at the time. I called my best friend Sarah, was the first person I FaceTimed and told her, and she started sobbing on the phone with me, like to the point where she was like uncontrollably like choking. And then I called my best friend Maeve, who I've been friends with since I was like 2. I called her mother because I'm really close with her mom too, and I told her, and then she told Maeve, and then Maeve called me when we were driving to Lurie's, and was just like in a complete state of like shock. And then I called Brianna and some like other like family members. Like I called my grandma. I obviously talked to her a little bit before she got there. But it was kind of just hard to absorb.
Surreal driving down there. Were you just like in a fog?
I don't think
like,
we spoke.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Car on the way there.
To each other, yeah.
We did not. I think everyone was.
Everyone
in
just
their own-
Grandma cried like the entire way
We
there.
brought boxes of Kleenex and water and like Pop-Tarts, and off we went because we didn't know where we were going. I'd never really even heard of Lurie's Children's Hospital. You're oblivious to it until it happens to you, like Marissa said.
But yet you were able to hold it together and get her down there.
Absolutely, because
My dad is the most like cool, calm, and collected person you'll ever meet. Like, if he ever like shows any emotion whatsoever, like it's a joke where people are like, "Oh yeah," like if your dad ever like looks like frightened, that something really serious has to be happening because he's so pulled together all the time.
and
so
then
he was able to remain calm to drive down
to
there?
drive,
Yes.
Okay.
And then my one of my best friends, like Marissa's
That's
aunt,
basically my aunt. Yeah,
Sherry.
she met us at the hospital in Chicago
Okay.
since she only lives like 15 minutes away.
Isn't this great how people just all, like the doctor
Rally.
that talked to you for an hour and a half so you could get home safe and you could have a plan and you couldn't think, so she thought for you.
She did.
And all of that. I mean, the good that comes out of it, it doesn't take away from what you went through, but people just circled you
Yes.
in a positive way.
Yes.
So,
So we piled in this room at Lurie's, and this doctor came in.
Well, the first thing she did is she,
went right to Marissa.
Joanna Weinstein, she walked in, and she looked right at me, and she looked at me, and the first thing she said is, "You're not gonna remember anything from this conversation that we're about to have right now. I guarantee it. But if you need to remember anything at all, just remember that this is curable." And that's
But
all
you're
I
gonna
really
have to
remember.
Fight like hell.
No, she said
said.
that it was going to be a long, hard road to recovery.
Longer.
so yeah. And when a doctor says that, then it's going to be really hard, you know. So, do you remember the conversation besides that?
No.
Okay. Just like she
I-
said.
Well, I do remember her kind of saying, well, I kind of had a gist of kind of what I had to happen anyways because my mom had gone through it when I was a freshman in high school.
Right, let's back up. Okay, so Julie is also a cancer survivor, thriver, whatever, recovering. But
In remission.
what, like a year, you were in remission only less than a year when she got, or a year?
I was in remission about 2.5 years. So Marissa's freshman year of high school, I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. And they're a little less aggressive the way they treat adults than kids. So I fought for 2 years with breast cancer. And I had 3 surgeries, chemo, and radiation. So Marissa had seen me go through that. And so she I think this is maybe what frightened her more, is because she had already gotten a sense of cancer and what it was like. And
So young.
one thing that she said to me is, you're really not in control when you have cancer. Like, everybody else kind of controls you. And she said, I remember the one thing that really gets me is when, and I remember it was February 14th, your hair just hurts when it's starting to fall out. And I just said to my husband, I can't even sleep anymore. You just need to shave my head because I can't. It was falling out in clumps, and it was your follicles hurt. So Marissa, 4 a.m, he was shaving my head in the bathroom, and I was sobbing, and he was sobbing, and Marissa said she woke up
That's a hard thing to see as a kid, to see your mom go
and
through
heard
that.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is why Marissa said, like, when it was her turn, she just wanted to shave her head because she could be in control of that.
Okay.
And she wanted a little bit of control. But anyhow, she was with me, and everyone was with me, and people rallied around me. And so, I'm in remission. I'm great. I'm doing fantastic now.
And
So,
then,
but then, and I'll tell you, and I think that that's when maybe, which we've talked about counseling and things like that, Marissa and I, and they say that when it's happening to you, it's totally different than when it's happening to your child. And
Okay,
that you
yeah.
feel so hopeless because it's your child. And I would rather go through it 100 times more than see her going through what she had to go through.
That's a good mom.
wow.
You
that
know what I'm
is-
saying?
Yeah, you got a, like I said, a line
So we were
attitude.
just in a pile of shit for about 4 years.
Sounds like it.
To be completely honest. And it was like, every time we turned around, it was something else.
And so,
Yeah.
yeah, because
It's a
then
long
I
journey.
really want to address what you had to do in order to stay down there, and enough to get her treatment. But before that, did they go through the treatment plan with you at that point and say, okay, here's what it's going to be, and this is what you need to expect?
They did give us like a layout of
Okay.
everything, and so they devise like each plan based on the individual cancer to each person, and after all the tests are done. And so after all the testing, she kind of called us and was like, hey, this is what we're going to do. 4 cycles, each one 3 weeks. So the first week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, about 10 hours of infusion time. And then the second week, 1 day on Tuesday morning, 30 minutes. And then the third week, nothing, but then the Neulasta shot, like to help you regain.
Okay.
And so that was
10 hours
the plan.
straight on the first.
And the
The
first
first
3
week?
days, yes. The first
Three-
week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I would just sit there. The first time I ever had chemotherapy, I was so nauseous that I was just like in so much pain. I just kept like throwing up and puking, and it was really bad. And at one point, the doctor walked in, Dr. Weinstein, and she was like, so do you want to be throwing up or do you want to be passed out? And I was like, oh, I definitely rather be passed out. And so we called it
Fair.
we called it the sleepy time pill. And so I used to take that and then just go to sleep.
So
That's nice.
but would you still throw up then if you're asleep?
Well,
Sometimes.
I would wake up and then I would go throw up.
Ugh.
But it was like better than being conscious all the time, being like like on a
Okay.
rocky, like kind of like a boat that was going back and forth. It almost felt like
All the time.
in my stomach all the time, the entire time. And the worst feeling, I'm gonna be honest, I hate it, is just feeling the cold liquid go through your arm all day. Like
Wow.
it's
Makes
horrible.
Makes you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes you freezing, and it's so uncomfortable. And I personally hated like IVs, and I did get my cancer all done, like cancer treated all through my IV, not through a port.
Not a port, and you made that decision because.
Port wasn't an option, they told us.
Well,
For children.
for children, they usually don't do a port. They usually do through IV. But I was old enough so that we could argue for it if we wanted it. But I chose IV because we were like, oh, it'll only be 4 cycles. We didn't really know how many IVs they were gonna have to do, and that my veins were gonna be as bad as they were.
And so then the veins got so bad that they started to roll away and collapse or
Yes.
pop out or both, all of the
Yes.
above, hurt, bruising, lines. So we have a picture to show, and we will, later, of you drawing over your hand in order to not look at all that ugliness and that pain. and you drew, what was it, with a skin safe marker? You
A skin
drew
safe marker, yes.
beautiful daisies. What are those flowers?
Just flowers. It's kind of like my comfort drawing.
Okay.
Are flowers. So I used to draw them like all the time when I was like in high school, and I used to be like really stressed out. I used to draw flowers, and I used to draw them like up and down my arms, and they get yelled at by the teachers, like, stop doing that, stop. But
I used to write test answers on my arms. So.
That's worse. According to
That's
a
probably
teacher.
why they were yelling at
I don't
it.
see a problem with it.
Yeah.
but yeah.
Hide it with the sweatshirt, like sleeve and everything. Yeah.
So we have a
anyways.
picture of that beautiful, the way she covered up all that
Be
ugliness
strong.
and put "Be Strong" in the middle, and then
It was beautiful, yeah.
we also have a picture of her mom. When did you get that tattoo after that?
It's kind of recent.
It's very recent. So when I was able to get a tattoo, I knew that I wanted one to just remind myself that I did it. I beat it. And I knew that I wanted a tattoo, but I didn't know what I wanted, and I wanted to think long and hard. Well, as soon as Marisa drew that on her hand, I knew that this was going to be my tattoo. And my motto was one day at a time. And so I took her artwork with my motto, and I now have it tattooed on my foot.
And we have a
So,
picture of that as well.
Every day
So-
I can remind myself that we did it, and we did it with the help of our strength, our resilience, and our positivity, and
Humor.
our humor. And with our tears came our smiles.
Nice.
But through our friends, our family, and everybody that helped us too, because it does take a village.
It really does.
It really does.
And a lot of good comes out of bad. It's unfortunate that the bad has to start first
Absolutely.
for that much good to come. But at
Absolutely.
least it comes.
Speaking of sense of humor, you had kind of a bonding moment with your puke bucket, right?
Yes. I had a few names for things actually.
Oh, cool.
So in Sherry's house, my mom's friend that we stayed with in Chicago, about
Yeah.
15 minutes away from Lurie's, we used to stay there during the first week. We used to stay there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So then I could like be somewhere where we wouldn't have to be driving back and forth, because my parents, we live about like 2 hours with traffic away from Chicago.
Yeah, and that's
And
a
so
lot.
we would drive every morning because we didn't want to take the train.
With you being sick,
She couldn't
No,
take
That's
yeah.
too much,
Yeah.
yeah.
because of the germs.
the
Right.
germs and the
let
nausea.
her.
Well, yeah.
And my
Yes.
friend Nicole would come and stay at our house because we have dogs.
Okay.
So that was another.
Every
Piece to
yeah,
the
it was just a
puzzle.
little everything, and
Everybody stepped up.
yeah.
So you stayed there, and what you named something at Sherry's house, you said? Or?
And so the garbage can that I used to puke in was Polly the puke bucket. My IV pole was actually Irene the IV pole, and so whenever I needed to go to the
Polly and
bathroom,
Irene.
I'd be like, "All right, me and Irene about to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back."
We'll be right back.
Yes, it was
You're into alliteration.
it was very comical at times.
And did you have others, or was that the two main ones were Irene and Polly?
Those were the two main ones, pretty much.
Aw.
Just hanging out with my friends.
Yeah.
Irene and Polly, yeah.
Right.
There's
Right.
nothing wrong
Right.
with my mind just because I'm talking to them, you
Oh,
know.
yeah, right.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so, but the reason you had to do so many hours was because she was treated as a child. You had a choice to be, because you were 17.
Mm-hmm.
You could either be in the kids program at Lurie's or treated
Yes.
as an adult.
I could either go to adolescent treatment at like Northwestern,
Okay.
or I could have picked pediatric at Lurie's. And so those were both like downtown, and so
Uh-huh.
I was pretty much choosing from those. And my parents actually made the decision to send me to Lurie's and get treated there because they offer more assistance, more foundations reach out, better care, like more, what's the word, attentiveness taken in the care given
And
at
and
Lurie's.
and more well-rounded care too, I would think,
Yes.
just to deal with children's
Well,
emotions. You
counseling
don't-
services,
Yeah.
like stuff having to do with school, they would help me with.
You had tutors, you said.
Yes,
all of
I had
that.
tutors that would come in. There was a math tutor, and then there was one for English. and there was also one for science, I believe, and they used to come in and kind of help me. I got math help a lot when I was there
Okay.
because I'm really bad at math.
But you stayed in school the whole time.
I did.
Your senior year of high school.
Oh,
I did. I did
she
go to
could.
school
When?
sometimes. I went to my first day of my senior year bald.
Wow.
It was
How was that with the other kids and stuff? How did they react to
it
that?
was very interesting because I was kind of like blend into the crowd type person.
Okay.
And it came very quickly that I was just, the girl with cancer because that's kind
Oh.
of what it was. But the school was actually very nice.
Oh, that's good.
Like everyone in the school, we had a huge meeting before I went to school with the nurse, the nurse's assistant, the principal, the vice principal, a representative from Lurie's that came out.
Really? Okay.
And then who else? Some of my teachers.
Because you had to be on a 504.
Yes, because I had to be on a 504 plan because of
Her being
issues
sick.
that I would be having with being sick.
What is a 504 plan?
And so a 504 plan is, oh gosh, I don't know the exact, I'll try to explain it. So it's for anyone who has a disability and or impairment
Oh, okay.
or,
That needs special attention.
yes,
or
that needs special assistance in any area.
Okay.
And so it can be used for people that are like mentally ill, physically ill,
Okay.
to kind of help them out to get the help that they need to be successful.
Okay. So is it like another teacher that pulls you aside and helps you with it, or?
Well,
is
there's a
it,
504 plan coordinator there,
As a coordinator. Okay.
and so she manages all the 504 plans and figures out, okay, well, what can we do for you or add to this list that will help you in school to succeed.
Okay.
And so some people, I got extra time on tests and stuff.
Yeah.
There is such a thing as mental fatigue, brain
Brain,
sure.
just
brain fog.
when
I
you
would think.
do go through cancer and chemotherapy, it does affect your working memory.
Chemo brain, it's called.
Yeah.
Yes, it is referred to as chemo brain, but it affects your working memory, which means it's what's going on in your head right now at the task at hand.
Okay.
And so I would kind of have a hard time processing through stuff and figuring stuff out in the moment. And so they extended my time on tests. I would go into a separate room to take tests, so they would move me from a separate room to kind of de-stress. I had some advantages on there where I could just go and get a drink of water when I needed, step out of class, sit if I needed to rest. I was exempt from gym class.
That's
So
kind of nice.
Good
I
Lord.
didn't.
I would
Yeah,
hope so.
yeah.
And you went in late.
Well, yeah. I also
And
went in
left early.
late.
Because she
I could
couldn't
come
do-
in from any
didn't wanna be
certain
with the
time.
crowd.
She couldn't do a whole day. She was too
Oh, okay.
exhausted.
Because of the length
Yeah,
of time.
I could come in at a certain time range. So they were like, okay, we're gonna give you 3 study halls as your first 3 classes. So
then
just
she didn't
pick
have
a
to
study
be
hall
there.
to come in during.
And then this is pre-COVID, so what about the germs then with being in a group of kids?
They weren't really too concerned. It was very interesting. I kind of just went.
How
But-
about when you would go though and
Well,
tell them what
oh
happened?
yeah, there were times where I really wanted to be normal. I just wanted to go to school and whatever and, be a normal. Everyone, let's be honest, okay? When you're in high school, when you're a freshman, you're like, I can't wait to be a senior. I can't wait to have my senior prom, my senior year. I'm you're the top dog in the school.
Yeah.
You just feel okay, this is my year. I'm the best. Yes, you celebrate being okay, 2020 graduate. This is my year. It wasn't anyone's year, but it
Well,
was
but-
it was it was bad. It was
But at the start of it, you thought it would be.
but right, and I was my senior year, I'm gonna bowl my senior year, I'm gonna get all these awards for bowling and stuff because I've spent 4 years on varsity. I was so excited, and then everything kind of came tumbling down so fast.
And you're like, this is my senior year.
Yeah.
And how many times?
Well, I went into school and I would be just kind of walking down the hallway. I remember one specific time I was walking down the hallway by my locker, and I actually my knees would kind of give out. And I've been
Wow.
walking for too long. My knees kind of collapsed, and I looked at my friend Sarah. I was walking next to her. I said, Sarah, I can't walk anymore. And she went, what? And I went, I'm going to fall. I cannot walk. It hurts. And she was like, okay, well, we got to sit you down. So I leaned against the wall. She helped me sit down. I was sitting in the hallway, and my choir like teacher came like over the side, and she was like, oh, like, what's wrong? Like, can I help you girls? Like, are you guys okay? And she was like, oh, Marissa's not feeling well. And let me tell you that my friend Sarah, she was amazing, like, this entire time. She was like, she would run around, like, the nurse to another teacher to get my backpack from my locker. Like, she to text my mom to be like, Julie, Marissa's on the ground right now. It's cool. Like,
Well, the
It's a good
nurse would
friend.
call me
she was,
because they would
yes,
say,
like, she was the one who had to go to the nurse to tell the nurse to get the wheelchair, and then they would send one of the
Call
security
me.
guards with the wheelchair, and then send another security guard to open the door for the wheelchair accessibility so they could wheel me out. Like, it was just
I would
this
go pick her up
whole
from
big
school.
production, but I did it 3 times. I did go, and every single time the security guards were like that was a really good, like, attempt at school today. We're very proud of you.
I can see why you wanted to feel normal at school,
exactly.
like, because that really is, it's so unnormal, and it's so hard to go through that and be surrounded by teenagers and everything, you know, like, that's
And-
just
Oh, it
They're,
was so weird,
Yeah,
and it's
how about
not
when
common.
you-
People were so scared to talk to me.
And
really.
Yes,
Like,
people were so scared. I had this
That's-
one neighbor that lived in back of me, and we had gym class together, and I remember we were walking on the track, and he came up to me and he's like, can I ask you, like, some questions, like, about what you're going through? And I'm like, yeah, like, you can't. He was really
like, please,
surprised.
yeah.
I'm like, I'd rather people kind of like, ask me those questions and get to understand it
Instead of like whispering
about
it.
me.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's like I'm sick, but I'm not deaf. Like, I can hear you talking about me.
Or you can sense it. You can sense when someone's talking about you. With like,
Yeah, and it's like, you don't need to
be
be secret about it. Like, I was very open about it, like, the
Well,
entire time.
And you said to everybody in your homeroom or whatever.
I did.
"Ask
I
me."
told everyone in my homeroom, I was like, I'm going through this. This is something that's happening. I'm not going to be... I told people, pretty much everyone in all my classes, like, I pretty much said, hey, I'm not going to be here all the time. I'm going to be kind of in and out. I'm sick. I have cancer. This is what it is. I'm going to be in and out of class, not consistent with the times that I'm here. If you have any questions or anything or want to ask me something, like, you totally can. I want to be open about it. It's not something that I want to hide. There's
I
no
love
point in doing
this.
that.
It was great.
Yeah.
Well, if
Very-
it's a chance kind of to educate people about, like,
Very
your
enlightened.
situation.
And mature and
Yes.
strong.
Did
Wow.
this? So you were going through treatment through all this time, or is this still just like aftershocks of the treatment you had had previously?
No.
No, I was going through treatment the entire time.
Okay. So then, how long did it take for you to start feeling generally better, or do you feel better? Do you
It
still
took
get moments
me
of
a long time. What was really weird is, like, at first you don't even feel sick. It's just, like, weird because when they first diagnosed me, I was like, I don't feel sick, and they were like, but you're sick on the inside. And then it kind of feels like they make you sick, like, over time. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's just what chemo does to you. It destroys the good and the bad. It destroys everything.
Right.
And so after, even when I was done with chemotherapy, it took me a long time to get everything back. As I said before, I am a bowler, and I've bowled since I
Bowling.
was 10.
Sorry.
What?
There was. Do you remember that song "Ballin'"? Like, it was like 10 years ago or something.
See, this,
At the-
this is the youngins
I'm
talking.
sorry.
I don't know what the hell they're saying, but whatever.
But there was like a sports awards, and we all went to, and the bowling team went up, and when the girl went up to the stage or whatever for her award, everyone went bowling.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good.
Remember, you're
moment.
quite a bit older than she is. You're, you know.
I know, but she's understanding my references, so
Yes.
I'm not over the hill yet. Jeez.
Okay, not just getting closer.
That's funny.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. Wow. So yeah, because the treatment. Let's review again. The treatment was how many weeks of 3 weeks on and, or 2 weeks on and a shot.
In total, it was, how long? Like 5.5?
She was diagnosed July.
I like how she just calmly pulls it away.
To be fair, she doesn't have headphones, so
So she was diagnosed July, and she was declared in remission in November.
Okay.
So July, August, September, October, November.
Okay.
So it was a very short time compared to, years, or, was what, basically 5 months. But it was, 3 days a week, 10 hours a day for 5 months almost.
Yeah.
So they hit children a lot harder than they hit adults because they can handle it. But she was sick. Think about it when you don't feel good for a couple days. Like, she didn't feel good for 5 months straight, almost.
I couldn't even shower on my own.
Yeah, a lot of times. And she would have nightmares almost nightly. She would sleep in between Mario and I, her dad and I.
Wow.
And we would, coddle her as much as we could. And then, of course, we weren't working because we were with her. So what I guess she really, her trying to go to school on Fridays, and it was mostly just on Fridays because that's when she would feel the best. The first 2 weeks of her treatment, she didn't. The third week, by Friday, she would start to feel better. And I would say, all right, if you want to try it, try it. She would drive to school and she would go. And I remember her just telling me over and over again, people don't understand. You just want to be normal again. She goes, and you take it for granted. You take it for granted every day that you just want to be normal.
The ability to just blend in, like what you were saying before.
Yeah. So in November, they were her last checkup. She was diagnosed with early onset, or not diagnosed, but she declared early onset remission.
Nice.
Early onset
response time. So it was, she didn't have to have her last round, and she didn't have to do radiation, because that's what we were worried about, was her having to do radiation. So her body responded very well to everything they did.
Wow.
And we have to thank Dr. Weinstein, because she's the one who gets all these mixtures, and okay, we're going to give her, 25 cc's of that, and we're going to give her 50 cc's of that, and we're going to mix this with that, and we're going to give her this with this. And we got, stacks of paperwork reading what they were giving her and why they were giving it and all of that. And I even got in trouble a couple times because it's called the Red Devil, and it's where that's the really massive, crazy
powerful drug. Yeah.
That,
First one they give you.
and it's like they suit up. Because if it drops on you, it like burns holes through shit. You know what I mean?
God.
So it's like, all right, they're putting that in your body. Yeah, it's poison.
Yeah.
It's poison. And like Marisa said, they kill the good blood cells with the bad blood
That's
cells.
kills the hair growing follicles.
Yes. And so you're not hair, everything. So she got this early response time, which was absolutely excellent. And, we can't thank enough, we saw so many children at Lurie's that Marisa wouldn't even want to go out of the room. And I'd say, why don't we take a little walk? Why don't we just walk? She'd be like, no, I can't go out there. I can't go out there. And
Why is that?
she could not see these little kids. And I said, I would cry seeing them too. And I'm like, you know what? They should be in a playground or something, not sitting in a hospital. And like their IVs, they would put like in their
secure them.
in their backs and
On their
stuff,
legs.
and on their legs.
For children.
So then they wouldn't pull them out of their arms, and they'd be just running around, and they'd be like, hi, and I'd be like, oh, you have such a pretty dress on today. And you would be holding back the tears.
What a sad.
Yeah, it's so
Oh my
hard.
God, it's so sad. But like the White Sox and the Chicago Cubs, like they had like Nintendo stations and all kinds of gaming devices, and then they had these big play areas and stuff. And it was remarkable, the floor, but
She had bingo, and I fell asleep during it. Remember that? With our 15 bingo cards?
Right. And she didn't want to go out.
Did you just face plant into the bingo board?
She didn't even do it.
Well, we had about 15 of them on my bed, and I was like, Dad, please play bingo with us. And he was like, no, I'm not playing bingo. And my mom and I did this for so long, and we were so into it, and the prizes were awful.
They were for little kids.
We were like, why are we doing this anymore? But then
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm nauseous now. And I fell asleep, and there's just like bingo cards like up my body as I'm laying there. I'm like, Mom, you have to continue bingo without me, please.
Please don't give
Carry
up.
on without.
It was so
important stuff.
funny.
But we also, you had so many people that were so encouraging to you, and has actually really made an impression on you, was like her art therapist would come in, and she got to be very close with her, and that would be the only time that Mario and I would leave the room.
Okay.
Was when the art therapist came in, because we wanted to give them their privacy, and that's when like we'd go stretch our legs or go get something to eat or whatever. But she got to be very close to her art therapist, Willow, at Lurie's, and
And that's what you think you might want to do with your future now? You're considering it? Sorry about the microphone here. I guess you had more to say than we thought.
So yes, I became really close with Willow, and she inspired me kind of in a lot of different ways, because I always loved to paint, and the things that I kind of created when I was sick, it was very therapeutic, like to be able to just sit there and do something normal, something that I really like to do,
Yeah.
like outside of the hospital, bring it into the hospital and be able to do that.
And just doing, and then talking about
Yeah,
the stuff
well,
you're
she
going
used
through
to
on the
walk
side.
in,
Yeah.
and she used to have like 5 different shaped canvases and be like, Marissa, I found a circular one, and a rectangle one, and a triangle one, and this really long one, this really tiny one. She's like, I'm so excited. What one do you want to use? Like, she was so enthusiastic about it that it made me happy. Like,
Yeah.
it was so fun, and like it was just something that would bring me a lot of joy, and so I decided I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I was trying to like kind of push all these careers in myself, where I was like, oh, I want to be a doctor. No, I don't want to be a doctor. Like, why do I keep pushing? I mean, society kind of makes you think like, okay, you want to do all these things that make a ton of money because that's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
But you need to do what
You need to
you
enjoy
are going to be
it.
happy doing, like for the rest of your life. You don't want to go to work and be miserable every day. Like,
Yeah.
do something that rewards you,
Definitely.
like, every day.
Like
That's what you
drawing
wanna
and
do.
talking to cool people, like or, while they're in therapy, you know.
Right, and so I was like, I think this is what I want to do.
And you have to
Yeah.
get a therapist degree to do that, don't you? So you'd have to get like a psychology degree.
So I'm
or-
majoring in psychology and I'm
Okay.
minoring in studio art.
Nice.
And so I'll have those requirements, and then you have to go into a master's program.
And you're on a bowling scholarship, aren't you?
I am on a bowling scholarship, yes.
Amazing. So this is the happy ending, so far kind of thing. But I do just want to back up one more time and say they treat kids more aggressively because their immune systems can handle it.
Yes.
I know you also chose that for her because there was a lot more financial assistance and a lot more care, but is it better? Are the statistics better to just go at it like that aggressively than it would be to draw it out for her?
yes. Well, and also, they did say that the treatment would be the same, whether she would go to an adult or a pediatric.
Okay.
The treatment would kind of be the same. It's just that she would be treated more with kid gloves and a little bit more understanding and love and care. Because I guess when you're older, they don't quite coddle you as much,
Okay.
if you will. So that's why we chose to do the Lurie's.
And then there were all those financial programs,
Yes.
and we need to discuss Anthony Rizzo. Come
I
on.
was like, we brought up the Cubs, like that's a good segue, but it just didn't happen. But yeah,
ahead.
let's talk about Rizzo because this is a cool
and
story that
it's
you
kind of
mentioned.
hilarious because I'm a White Sox fan. Like, I don't even like the Cubs. Like,
Well, he's at the Yankees now anyway,
But
so it's
listen,
fine.
Oh, that's right.
you don't have to be a
Not
Cubs
as in
fan to be an
Yeah.
Anthony Rizzo fan.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
You
he's
know,
a
you
likable
don't-
guy.
No,
Yeah.
he's an amazing guy. I remember when he came. I remember we got word of it first. I was laying. This is my first round of chemo. My first day actually of chemo. I still had my hair when this happened, and my mom was actually like, I think Anthony Rizzo's in the building, and like an hour later, here he comes, like into my room, and we talked for about like 25-30 minutes.
Because he had the same when he was
He had
17.
the same cancer as me, Hodgkin's
At the same
lymphoma,
age.
at the same age as me at 17.
Wow. And is he part of a foundation, or does he just do this?
He has his
Anthony
own.
Rizzo Foundation.
Yes, he has his
Okay.
own foundation, the Anthony Rizzo Foundation. But I remember talking to him and his wife for such a long time, and I remember him telling me, like, even if you can't, like, bowl, like, you need to go and watch it. Like, you need to go and be around it, because it's something that makes you happy, and you need to submerge yourself in things that make you happy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember him specifically telling me this.
And it was his birthday.
Yes, it was his birthday. He bought Chinese food for the entire floor.
Wow.
But could you eat it back then? Like, were you too nauseous?
I ate
or-
orange chicken, and I have not eaten orange chicken.
Threw it all up.
I believe it.
Good try though.
No,
Nice effort.
whenever I even think of it, I'm like, ugh, I can't. I just can't.
He was very inspirational.
But he was such a
to
great
her.
guy. Yes, he was so awesome.
And
he
even
was so
you
nice
said
and
he
genuine.
even paid
He paid
paid
a month
a
of
couple
our
things.
mortgage.
Oh,
Yes, he
I
did. He
didn't
paid a
know
month
if
of our
that was
mortgage.
okay to
That's okay.
say.
Personally himself.
He
and
just decided
Yeah.
to pay a month of your mortgage. Yeah.
Because we needed help.
Yeah.
You know, he said, "Are you guys doing okay?" And I was like, "No, we're
Yeah.
not doing
You had
okay."
to quit. Didn't you quit your job, or did you just leave your job?
Well, I worked
Like a
when
day
I could,
here, yeah.
but it wasn't. You know, and my boss tried to help me out as much as he could. But yeah, we were struggling financially.
And then
big-
your
big
husband
time.
went on the Family Medical Leave Act, but that's only a percentage.
Right.
But at least you had good health insurance.
We had good health insurance, but we
But it
needed
still doesn't pay
more.
it.
I mean, you
Yeah.
can be in debt thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands, and that's what we were heading. I was still paying my medical bills from 3
Right.
years ago.
Oh my God.
So, and I mean, I was, paying a couple $100 a month because, I mean, let's face it, pretty much the whole world kind of lives paycheck to paycheck at this point. I think.
Yeah.
I would hope that we
think so.
wouldn't, but a lot of people do. But yes, so we had a gracious friend offer. She came and asked if she could talk to us one day, and we were like, okay. And she said, "Can I head up a benefit for your daughter?" And I said, I don't know. Like, it seems weird. Like, that's a hard pill to swallow.
Well, you don't want to. Yeah, you don't want to be have pity on you. Right.
And then also it's like, oh, give us money. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't
That's
know.
weird. Yeah, it's easy to take a casserole, but to take a check is weird.
So I talked to.
I wouldn't take a casserole, I don't think. That sounds bad.
Ever.
Right.
So, that
Depends on
was
the casserole.
nervous, but, we wound up saying okay. And I will tell you, it was the most unbelievable day, and it was so positive, and
That's really great.
it was unbelievable.
And you see who's like in your corner, I think, who shows up for
who
you
was
and
in your
stuff.
corner, Marissa? Like,
600 people?
And Anthony Rizzo. I mean, this was separate, but like
yeah, there was at least 600 to 800 people that showed up to this benefit.
amazing.
It was crazy.
And she said to me,
Amazing.
I don't know how big it's going to be. I don't know how. But they formed a team, Marissa. They would do meetings weekly about what they were doing. We had people, like, even our friends, like mothers and husbands, were out getting donations and, bars around the area, restaurants around the area, our friends. It was unbelievable.
Soliciting, yeah, donations.
Unbelievable.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Unbelievable. Marissa? Go ahead about it.
I just love how calm
She is great mic
She's like,
control over here.
Yeah.
She's messing with it like here and there,
Well,
like-
because she was really
Well, sometimes
nervous
she like
about it.
screams in it, and I'm like,
Oh.
And, she was like, I don't know. And plus, she wasn't feeling good.
Well, yeah.
And they tried to do it late September. And we didn't know, like, how she was even going to be feeling with it.
So we have a whole back show going on, kind of, that we're laughing not at you, but
course.
No,
we're not laughing at the
but
story.
let's talk.
But
Okay, I think I don't know how much time are we going on here, people? Does it matter? Okay, people. We have people. You guys. You
People.
can't see our staff here.
Good
We have
people.
staff.
Good people.
So, but I would like to talk about. You finished treatment in November, and then at the end of the month, you won something. The biggest thing. I forgot.
I will say first, bowling, and it's kind of like, oh, you just like roll a ball down the lane, like how hard can it be, like whatever. Well, most of the oh my gosh, I can't talk. So when
would
you
like
bowl-
a sip of water.
No, I just need to. I need my brain to like switch on or something.
no,
actually,
that's fair.
But
Here, I switched it on.
thank you, thank you.
That helped.
So when you're bowling, you actually take most of the momentum. There it goes. Most of the momentum in your knees and your legs, because all of that power, like going forward in your approach, is taking into your legs when you're getting into that last step and you're bending down and pushing forward with everything.
And carrying a big ball.
Yes,
Isn't
a
it how-
14-pound bowling
Yeah, I was
ball.
wondering how much those weigh.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
And I couldn't even hold the thing like when I first started back.
Right.
But I couldn't get the momentum like kept in my like legs, and so I couldn't bowl like for a long time. All throughout my treatment, I couldn't.
Oh.
I was too sick to bowl, and so I basically didn't bowl for about 6 months, and it was horrible. It was
And she
that's
bowled every day,
awful.
mind you.
Wow.
Yeah,
Even
before that I
Saturday and
bowled every
Sunday.
day. Yes.
Did you go like Anthony Rizzo said?
I did. I went to leagues on Saturday mornings, and sometimes I went to travel, and I just sat there and I kind of hung out with my team, and I watched them bowl. And it was hard because,
Hard,
you know, I
yeah.
couldn't bowl. I was like, oh, this sucks. But I would be there, and everyone would kind of talk to me. It was very interesting because I have a handful of friends from bowling that I've known from my travel league. And it was interesting to see, like, kind of how they, like reacted to it, and I was kind of around, and they would try to like talk to me and stuff, and it was just nice to be around bowling, to be honest with
So
you.
that was
Like,
good
it was
advice, then.
good. It was
Yeah.
hard though. It was hard to see people doing something that you want to do but you like physically can't.
It's
Yeah, and
it's
so when I
hard,
started going
but it
to
maybe is worse to not to see your friends. I don't know.
yeah,
It's hard
well,
to know.
when I started going back to travel practice, it was really hard. I couldn't bowl. I started slowly regaining my strength and being able to bowl again. The first few tournaments I bowled in my high school season, I could not even get through, like, you have to bowl 6 games, 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, with a lunch break in between.
Okay.
And I would usually do like the first 3, and then that would be it. Like, that's all I could do. And then slowly I progressed. I could bowl like 4 games. I could bowl 4, maybe with the end of 5. But then, like, at the end of 5, I would just start crying because I was like, I can't finish this, and I need to bowl the 6th game. And my mom was like, you just need to be done. You need to be done. And I would be like,
She'd
I'd be
wanna
like
keep going.
sobbing because I'm like, I just want to finish all 6. I just got to do it. And so the first tournament that I ever finished all 6, at the end of that month,
You won.
I did. I won my first high school tournament, and I'd been talking to my a couple of the moms like on the team, and I was like, you know, I've always gotten like 3rd and 2nd, but I've never gotten 1st before. And this was the tournament that I ended up winning. It was the Streamwood tournament.
The first time you bowled 6 games after finishing treatment,
I won the tournament.
you won.
Yes.
And is that the
That's
first
great.
time you won? Because you always
was
got
the
second and third before.
It was the first time I'd ever won a varsity tournament for high school, yes.
And
And
there
there
was-
were like 160 something girls like bowling for varsity
From high
that day.
schools all
The house
around.
was packed like all the way
And you
from
won.
end to end. And I ended up winning individually for the whole tournament.
And how many weeks?
I had a
after?
1290 for 6 games.
What does that mean?
That was my total. If you divide that, I don't know.
Over
so if you take
200.
1,290 and divide that by 6, that was my average for the day.
Which isn't it like good to be over 200 or whatever with bowling?
215.
So she averaged
215. So I averaged
for the day.
215 all day.
300 is the highest, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But over
pretty good.
200, I heard, is amazing.
Yeah.
And 215 every time. Oh, here comes a kitty.
Oh.
We have kitties
Oh.
on this program
We
too.
love kitties.
I hear.
So you won. Holy,
Yes.
holy cow.
It was a crazy experience, and it's so surreal when it's happening because I remember my first 3 games. I was like, oh, that was pretty good, but like.
You were number one.
And my mom and dad, like, everyone on my team was like watching. They were like, oh, she's number 1, like she's up there, like, and at the halfway point I didn't even look at the standings. Like, they post them, the halfway standings of like individual and team, and I wasn't even looking at it. I was like, I don't even want to walk over
No, I
there,
know.
and I don't even want to look at it.
And
Like,
you-
it's not happening.
You have photos
I
of
have
those
videos
stats,
of-
right? Where
yes.
she's at the top, the whole
Yes,
thing.
yes.
And what was the video about?
About her when they were saying, because she got like
I had like 6 awards, like 5 or 6 awards. I had one for the high game of the day, because I bowled a 266, wasn't it?
267. I think.
Probably maybe a 267.
Wow.
In the morning, and then
The
I
highest
bowled
average in the morning,
the highest average overall, I think,
the best
for the
game,
215.
the highest game.
The
most
highest
consecutive marks.
Well, most consecutive marks was a big one for me because that's really hard to do.
Most, what does that mean?
Consecutive marks means strikes or spares in a row.
And she had 24 of them.
So,
And
yes.
mind you, there's only 10 frames.
Well, I had 24 marks in a row, which is 24 strikes or spares in a row.
Where
so-
that means there's either one pin left, right?
Nothing.
No,
Or
it's
none.
nothing. It means
Oh,
either
so-
you get a strike, so you're knocking them all down the
Like
first
the
roll.
first time, and
Or a
spares
spare, which means you're knocking down all 10 in two
tries.
to fill the frame. It's basically filling frames is what it is.
Wow, 24 in a row?
2 games.
2 games.
Oh my God!
Nothing left standing.
So that was you got all those awards this tournament, which was like 3 weeks after ending treatment, or is that or
It was
less?
like 3 or 4 weeks,
About
yeah.
4 weeks after ending treatment when she couldn't even stand up or walk. Yeah.
It
She
was
pushed
just
herself.
something of kind of like the adrenaline comes in too. Like after
Mm-hmm.
you start doing so well. I was on like game 5 and I was so tired.
Yeah.
Like I was just kind of like done and I was like I'm doing so good I can't. Like I just need to keep going.
Wow.
And I remember by game 5 I think I finished the last game and I think the first thing I did when I threw my last ball is I came over to my dad and I gave him the biggest hug in the world and just like collapsed on him and I was
Aw.
already crying because I knew that I did so good. And I
Oh my
remember him
gosh.
holding my back and he said,
Wow.
I'm so proud of you. He said, you did so good.
Wow.
and
That's
did you
gonna
guys
make me
ever
tear up a little bit.
Yeah, me too.
That's a really nice moment.
Yeah.
And there were times
I
when
have a picture of them hugging.
yes, please, we
I
need
will.
that
I
too.
can show you that.
We've got a lot. We got a whole. We need a Google Drive
love
of all
that.
of this.
Yeah.
Is what I'm told.
And
Is there-
with that,
It's
then
like-
you,
Don't worry,
Something-
the
it's like
millennials
a-
will take care
it's
of
like
it.
a car.
Coach
Millennials
Vince.
will take care of it.
Then you got a bowling scholarship.
Well, that was the tournament. I think that the scouts started to really like notice.
Oh, this is why she got a scholarship from this.
part of it.
Well, it was
Wow.
part of it. And so I found Judson University, and Coach Vince. I started talking with him, and he's so nice. He's so awesome. He's such a great guy.
At the,
He's just so good. I don't know. It's just,
at the college.
the entire like team though throughout my like cancer and stuff.
She was laying in a bed.
I was laying in my bed at my like second round of treatment.
So sad.
And I was like, my phone just started blowing up. I'm like, what's going on? It was the entire Judson University bowling team following me on Instagram.
Because
Oh,
Coach
wow.
Vince said, please pray for one of ours.
Were you already
She was in
already
getting
admitted
chemo.
there?
Yeah.
I
but,
was,
oh,
yeah.
because
Well, I was committed to going there.
got it. Okay.
And I hadn't even signed paperwork yet.
But he called you one of your.
And
One of
he
your-
reached
theirs.
out and posted to the team and said that I was sick and to ask for prayers and that
They
this was
didn't
all
even
going
know
on.
you. The
Nope.
team had never
No,
met you.
and
Nope.
they all followed me all of a sudden on Instagram and all just started like messaging me.
Wow.
And it was like an amazing feeling kind of to feel like I was like enveloped in like this family type like love and support like from
I
them
love that.
and the school in general and
your
Coach Vince.
and your future, something to strive for. Like that's your future, you know, because you were a senior by now, and that was
Yeah.
ending. And
So then that's when afterwards she
Wow.
signed when she was feeling pretty good, and I'll send you that picture when she signed with them.
please,
Yes. Yeah.
and then, but then you went, and you came home, right? Because you were still immunocompromised, and you had to be in a room by yourself.
Yes, I
and-
had to by doctor's
and-
recommendation.
But now COVID was in
Yeah.
place, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, by doctor's recommendation, they
The
put me in a
sign says
room
it
by
all.
myself.
Right.
they recommended you be your freshman year in college in a room by yourself.
By myself, yes.
And then don't get around people too much because you're immunocompromised and
Yes.
we're in a
Yes.
pandemic.
Yes.
So that's a great time.
And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, this sucks. And then they were like, all your classes are online. And I was like, oh, this really sucks. And then I called my mom at 5 a.m, crying my eyes out. And I was like, I want to come home.
And you
And she
guys
was like-
you had just moved
Yeah.
her in.
24 hours.
Oh, God. It
But-
was such a confusing time. It was horrible. But I also learned that it's okay to not be okay.
True.
Thank
Good
you for
job.
saying
It's
that.
it's
job.
okay to not be okay. Like
And
if
what
you're
else did you learn? It's okay to see a counselor.
Oh yeah. Well, I didn't just learn that. I've been seeing counselors forever, but
But
Yeah.
but
it's
you're
okay
saying
to get
it.
help too.
This
Like
is what we
it's
need
it's
to
okay
hear.
to not be okay. It's okay to go see a professional for help.
And it's
like,
okay
there's
to
nothing
leave.
wrong with
It's
it.
okay to leave college 24 hours later if it's
If you're
what
not
you
ready,
need.
then
Yeah.
you're not ready.
I'm sure this
college
past
right
year-
away isn't for everyone.
Oh,
And
no.
there's such a big pressure now, being like, okay, after high school, you need to go right into college. You need to do that. Isn't for everyone. Sometimes you're not ready. Sometimes you don't want to. Sometimes it's just not your thing.
Sometimes
Don't
you
be
don't know
ashamed of
who
that.
you are. Like you don't know what you're like, what you want to do with your life. Like how can an 18-year-old always
Yes,
decide
I
that?
sobbed in the admissions office at Judson.
You did.
Uh-huh.
And it was actually Sam that gave me a hug in admissions, and she said to me, honey, everyone has their own journey. And I heard that for a long time from them at Judson. They said, everyone has their own journey. And what I loved is they weren't like, oh, you need to come back, blah, blah, blah. They were like, do what's best for you. Everyone has their own journey.
I love
like,
this.
we want to do what's best for you. And that's so,
A lot of
like,
schools
their
wouldn't
hearts
do
are
that.
just in the right place there. There's something about it.
So did you go do school from online at home, or did you just stop?
I did, I was a commuter for one semester at Judson.
Okay.
And I drove 40, I think their cutoff for commuters is 50 minutes, and I'm 47 minutes away. And so
You
I
beat it by
drove,
3 minutes.
I drove 47 minutes to go commute and take
The,
classes
the
there.
first semester?
Yes, for my
Okay.
first semester. I had half online, half in person.
Okay.
And I had a wonderful experience with my in-person classes there. I loved my teachers, my professors. It was great. But I did not like the online classes. I struggled a lot in online
Oh, my
schooling.
I think a lot of people did. Yeah, this
Yeah.
past year and everything.
Well, and it's so, I don't think it's
How do you
like
teach
fair.
yourself college?
It's not natural. Yeah, like I mean,
No.
college. I feel bad for like the actual kids. You know, like
First year of school, whatever.
How
Yeah,
does a
like
kindergartner
Jessica.
do online school? Like they're not gonna focus. You
My
know, like,
cousins-
it's
Just
just
like
all had,
college too.
yeah.
Like your
Right.
freshman year of college, it's a whole new ballgame. How are you doing?
I was in a self-guided math course that was online. So they basically throw you in this program that's like pre-created already and are like, okay, do that. But like my professor was like, you can email me if you have questions. And I'm like, well, I want to like talk. Like I don't want to
Right.
email you.
Yeah. Okay,
It was,
so did you stop your second semester then?
I did.
Took a
I
break?
withdrew from my second semester, and I decided, after recovering from cancer and like COVID, and it wasn't just like, oh, everything goes back to normal after I was done with like chemotherapy. Now with COVID, it was like, okay, you are already in your own bubble, but now you're really in your own bubble.
Oh my God, I didn't even think
Because
of it
I
that
was
way.
because of my immune system was kind of crushed, and I was already doing halfway online school, and then I just went to more online school. Like in my senior year, I was too sick to go to homecoming. I missed homecoming.
She missed
I
everything.
missed part of bowling. Like it was just bad.
And then you go right into COVID.
Yes, and so I was still at home, still not being able to really go out, really do anything. But this time, you know, I was recovering physically, and so I decided it was time to recover mentally, and so I reached out. I found a new counselor that fit me, and this is another thing too. Sometimes, just because you see one counselor and it doesn't work for you, you need to find the right person that clicks with you.
Don't be afraid to keep looking and say, sorry, not a
Yes.
fit.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what we did.
Did you do that?
Yes.
I did. I went through like 4 counselors before I found the right one over the past couple of years. But I love my counselor now.
Okay.
And I think that I'm super comfortable talking to her about everything. And it's improved my mental health a lot. I found a new psychiatrist that fits for me, that I talk to, and
And you're 19.
I figured it out. Like I started to kind of figure it out. I mean, I don't have
Yeah.
anything completely figured out, but I'm on the path to figuring it out every day. So
And you're
I
willing
think
to
the
try.
journey's this is the fun part. You know, like getting to figuring it out. Figuring it out is not. I don't think
no.
the end goal.
Yeah.
You know.
I think it's the very beginning.
Yeah. Because then you have to figure something else out. You know. Like,
Right.
it just keeps going and stuff.
Well,
but-
and her counselor said to me as well, like when we found her, she said, you know, thank you for supporting her and helping her with not making it easier for her and saying, Marissa, whatever you want to do, we'll support you. If you need to stay home, you need to stay home. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
And I love that you moved her in, and then 24 hours later,
And it was
you moved.
100 flippin' degrees. My husband and I were like, really? Could it be hotter today? Oh, geez, it was so hot. But her counselor did say something, and I think this is very important, and Marissa and I talk about it often. Just because you're healed on the outside doesn't mean you're healed on the inside.
That's a really good message.
And you need to work on you, and whatever you need to do to figure that out, that you need to do that.
And you need to wait till you're strong enough on the outside, because if you don't have energy to do that, you can't. So then some people just want to get on with it.
It's piece
and
by
that's
piece.
when PTSD starts coming, because you didn't deal with like what the heck happened to me.
I dealt with nightmares for a long time. Like consistent. I developed a lot of sleep anxiety from what I went through. It's really hard for me to fall asleep still. It's one of the really long effects that I've had.
Okay.
Like when I go to bed, I just have like horrible nightmares sometimes. And I just cannot fall asleep as easy as I ever did before that. It's just like this sense of worry that was kind of set into me when I was going through that. That's kind of drawn out still. And it was worse when I was going through stuff, because I knew when I woke up I would have to go to the hospital, and so I didn't want to go to sleep for as long as possible. And so I would stay up and just be like, oh my God, I'm just going to stay here. And I remember my last run of chemotherapy, my mom came to get me out of bed, and I was like gripping the bed sheets, like, do not make me go to the hospital again. Do not make me go to that place.
Oh my God.
It's like the longer it went on, the worse it was.
The worse my anxiety got, the worse everything. The last IV they ever put in my arm was for a CT scan. And they went to go put it in, and I remember just like this horrible reaction coming out before that they even put it, like the two nurses came over with like the VAT team with the like the IV and the machine to look at my veins and stuff, and immediately I just got nauseous. Like my entire body just started shaking, and I just got nauseous. And you remember this because you were like, oh my God. I started sobbing, and
I just said, she's done.
Yeah,
she's
and
done.
I remember two more nurses running in and holding a bag up to my face because I was just throwing up uncontrollably because I was so scared. Like
From the needle.
From just the needle and the smell of this, like the alcohol wipes would just set me into a place where I would just start like, it was awful. Like it wasn't just fun and whatever, and this is so positive and fun. I'm having whatever, like I'm so inspiring. Like it was difficult.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you can't sugarcoat experiences like that. Like you just
shouldn't
tell how it is.
Yeah, you gotta say how, like, all the gory
Because it was
details
hard.
and everything. Yeah.
Like I remember like throwing up and crying, and it was horrible, and it took me a long time to kind of start to get over that fear, because like for the next few like months and even now, like they tried to give me a shot in the doctor's office, like kind of after that happened. And I remember like instantly when she was like, okay, and I just start like shaking and like crying, and I can't do anything about it. Like my body just like,
it's just a reaction.
Just does it. And I'm like, and I didn't understand it. And I would talk to my counselor and be like, okay, I see this needle and my body just like stops functioning normally, and I don't know what to do, because I'm like fine up till the minute where then she's like, okay, I'm about to do it, and then
what did she say? Is
down.
It PTSD or whatever?
Well, they did diagnose me with PTSD.
I can't imagine you don't have it. Yeah,
yeah,
for a variety of reasons.
Yes, and a panic disorder.
Okay.
Like some other like anxiety, generalized anxiety.
Sure.
Stuff like that.
And when you say psychiatrist, are you medicated for some of this?
Yes.
To help with that, because I'm pro medication when it comes to brain chemistry.
Well, and we started at a very low dose.
Well, it was very nice because my psychiatrist explains stuff very well. Like she isn't just like, oh, we're just gonna throw this medication at you. Like she will explain what it does, what it is. Like she gives a choice between a lot of different medications and wanted to make sure that we knew like scientifically what it's doing, and like emotionally what it would be doing, side effects. Like she explained everything very well, because there's a stigma on like medication
still.
Yes,
And
that-
psychiatrists.
Crazy, yeah.
You see
And psychiatrists.
and you
Yes,
go,
it's not
"Oh, she
scary.
seems
And I
like
guess I'm also kind of nerdy with it because I'm a psychology major. But like, it's isn't scary. Like it's all brain chemistry.
This is what we're trying to promote here, is that it's just
Yeah.
the same as taking insulin.
Yes,
It's the
okay.
same.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's for your health. Like
And
if
she
you
said-
need it, then you take
Mental
it,
health
yeah.
is just as important as physical health, and it
Yes.
all links in a way too.
Oh, it's all connected, yeah. Because there's so many times where I've been super stressed out, and then a couple weeks later I get super sick for like 2 weeks or something. You know,
Yes.
like, and I think it's like directly correlated to being super stressed. You know, because my immune system isn't working in the same way and stuff, and it's just it all is connected with each other for sure.
Marissa, how, since we're wide open here, how are you feeling about going off to college on Thursday?
Oh yeah, I was gonna
Oh
ask.
my
you're,
gosh.
Dun, dun,
Okay.
dun.
You're going in
You can-
person again.
You can always come
person
back.
again,
Don't forget.
Right,
You're only
right.
an hour away.
We're taking her.
Their phone's gonna be on all day waiting for it to come
I'm-
back, right? Yeah.
No, are you feeling? I mean, it takes a lot of bravery to go off and
I
do
am
this.
actually nervous.
Yeah.
I don't want that like same feeling of like distress that happened last time to come again.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it was partially like because of the circumstances. Well, first of all, my immune system is bad. My immune system is good now.
Okay.
I am fully like recovered body wise for immune system.
Okay.
My body
Excellent.
can fight off of sicknesses that an average human being could fight off.
Okay.
Sure.
I'm all good. Obviously I'm not in a room. I'm not in a room by myself anymore. I got a roommate.
Yay! See, that'll
So-
help so much.
Yes,
Just
yes.
not be
Absolutely.
singled out, like literally.
Yep.
Yes, literally put in like a shoebox by myself and be like, okay, survive.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, geez, talk
but-
about thinking. Too much thinking.
Now I have a roommate and I cannot wait to meet her. I'll be meeting her for the first time on Thursday, and I'm
Nice.
actually so excited to meet her. I think we're gonna have a great time. I have a good feeling about her. I think that from the text conversations that we have, we're both kind of nerdy and we both have the same.
If you can tell from texting, I think then you're pretty
Well, and we're
solid,
both
'cause texting's
bowlers.
hard.
Oh, you're both
that's
bowlers?
we're both on the
perfect.
bowling team,
That's perfect, yeah.
so it will be great.
Right
I
there.
think it'll be good.
Yeah.
And it's just different. It's kind of a different. I
I
hate to
you're
say
ready
like.
more. I think mentally, she's in a different place than she was a year ago.
I can't imagine.
I think I'm ready to
How bad it
enjoy
was.
school.
That's exactly it. Enjoy and fly.
It can be very
And fly.
enjoyable, yeah.
Yeah, I am excited. But I'm also of course nervous because I know this sounds but one of the big things about going away is I'm so scared to leave my dogs.
Oh.
No, that's valid.
I have 3 dogs and
That's
when
a big
when I was
concern.
sick, they
Oh.
would lay with me all the time. I had 2 dogs when I was sick. We just got a COVID puppy. But
yeah. That's-
when I had my 2 dogs, my dog is Chance, and
Okay.
he's a German Shepherd Rhodesian Ridgeback mix.
Lab.
And all of our dogs are rescues, by the
yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Chance, when I was sick, he used to lay with me in my bed for hours. And he's
German-
not that type of dog. Like he's very like
No.
energetic and like he
I know.
he barks at me for like hours. He's
Yeah.
like, "Let's go on a walk. Let's go on a walk." He never used to do that when I was sick. He used to lay with me in my bed, right next to me, up by my head, like. And
Yeah,
he
they know
was
when
such a
something's
good.
up.
But he has like
has a-
he's developed like separation anxiety. Like he's
With
kind of a
her.
freak. He's kind of crazy.
Oh.
He like
Poor
won't
puppy.
eat sometimes if I'm not there to feed him. Like he just stops eating. He's like, okay, well, screw you. I'm not eating for you. To my dad, and my dad's like, whatever. And then he's like, Marissa, come feed your dog. I'm like, okay.
Maybe you can
Screw you, I'm not
FaceTime
eating
with
for
him.
you.
Seriously, like with the voice
Yes.
and everything.
Or you can come home.
Come home for a night or a weekend or whatever
Absolutely.
Right.
to see your dogs.
But it's difficult because you
Not
know
your
I'm
dad.
also an only child. I'm also an only
Yeah,
child.
that's the
I don't have
thing
any
too.
siblings.
Right,
So it's
yeah.
like I've kind of grown this attachment to my home, to my place of safety, like to being around my parents, to this being the only environment I've kind of ever really been in.
Well, and the 3 of you have been in it together, like going to war all through high school.
Yeah.
You know, all through your high school. Just
We
the 3 of
backed
you
each other up.
ultimately. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
A
bottom
good
line.
support though will be like my bowling team and stuff, and my coach being there for me. I'll have practice for most of the time that I'm there, and so that'll be good.
Maybe you'll sleep so much better too because you'll be so exhausted because there'll be so much at first,
It's
like
gonna
with
be
the
a lot-
bowling and the
lot of
walking
change,
and
yeah.
the input with the friends and all of that. So
I'm hoping it
and you
will
can
be
always
okay.
come. You can always come home, crash in your room, and Chance will come there, and the other 2.
Right.
Right. I'm
And-
just so I just love, and it's funny because I don't think about it, but like you'll never be bored with 3 dogs. Like ever.
You can always
Like,
have dogs.
If I'm ever just like sitting there like, oh, I'm bored. What am I gonna go do? I'm gonna go bug the dog. Like I go and like
and
hug Chance.
they're always game too, you know. Okay,
Yeah.
playtime.
Oh, you want to bug me? Cool.
Right. It's like weird to lay on the floor like anywhere else because usually I have 3 dogs on top of me that are all over 60 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, you
funny.
have just been such a joy, both of you. Mom, how are you feeling about her going off to college? Ugh.
Don't let my tears show.
That's
You know
another.
what? I'm happy for her, and this is what she's supposed to do.
Uh-huh.
And she can come home. She's close.
Right.
And, you know, she needs to go, and she needs to blossom, and she needs to fly high.
And there was a time when you wonder, was that going to even happen?
Right. And
You know?
now, oh,
Yeah.
she's going to be a collegiate bowler.
I guess.
She took a summer class this summer. She kicked butt. And
We-
just our, I guess, message is you can do it. Just remember,
Well-
you can do it. Whatever it is, you can do it.
and at least here you're calm about it. I mean, the way that you're sharing, you're really a strong person, and if this helps you when you get to college on Thursday, just know, look, you have been through so much more than a 19-year-old should have to go through, but you've done it and you've prevailed and you've gotten awards for, bowling in a few weeks after. Point being is that if you ever feel insecure when you're there, I would say, no, you know what? I got this, because look at what I just faced and beat. And so this is just college. This is just a stupid class. This is just a, annoying roommate or
You've definitely
not,
seen
or
worse.
not
than
roommate,
whatever you're gonna
but
go through in
classmate.
college classes. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that in a way. It helps you and you're going to help so many other people later, because you're going to go to college and you're going to find people that are freaked out about the smallest thing, and you're like, what? Like you just.
Yeah.
And we even said that we think for a lot of people, COVID is the worst thing that ever happened to them. And I'm like, COVID.
And it was for a lot of people. Yeah.
And it was, and
Yeah.
it's not to judge them because that's the worst thing they've ever had to face. But
And that's good.
that's good.
Like-
but for me, I was like, what? I mean,
Right, yeah.
Right.
it's it's important, but it's not cancer. It's not. I mean, anyway, so you've got a depth of strength built, and that's never going to go away. Okay, and now you're just going to build on it and start sharing with others. I know what. Am I pretty too? This is our
so
joke.
pretty. So
No,
pretty.
but anyway, so you're a real inspiration. Thank you. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for the kind word. You could be like a motivational speaker.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. No,
Don't put it in her head. Honestly.
No, I seriously.
Me? Motivational?
I mean, I don't even try to look this
She
good.
is. She is officiating my wedding.
True story.
Oh, I think I knew that.
Yeah. She's gonna officiate my wedding. So she is good at. You are good at public speaking and stuff.
When later on, when you, I mean, I'm the aunt here, but I've got a mom by my side, so usually I'm with all the youngins, so I'm the old one. But when you have a chance to finish my story or any story about resilience, maybe you'll write a book someday or share it in other ways. The thing that I want people to understand, and especially you, is that this has consumed you and been all of you for the last couple of years, and cancer has consumed your family for 4 years. As time goes on, right now it's this big, time goes on, you're going to have all these other things that happen and memories and things, and it's going to still always be there, but in comparison to your whole life, it's not going to be everything. And so but what remains is the resilience that came from that.
Yes.
And so it's always
Absolutely.
there, but you're going to be able to take that strength and then just sort of make that, look smaller overall. And sometimes I've imagined when you were in it, you just think, oh my God, this sucks. This is
Yeah.
my life. Like how, you were the girl with cancer.
Right.
Ooh, maybe we could call
I,
this
I
episode
wrote
that.
a lot actually when I was sick. I used to write a decent bit.
Okay. You can put that in the Google Drive if there's anything,
true.
that you want to share.
Didn't you have a
I have
something
your-
or something that I wrote.
Yes, we can. It's at home.
Yeah. Because I had to write my story and then send it out to for some things. Like my college essay to get in. But one of the good advantages for going through trauma is that you have a lot to write about in your college essay. Woo!
Calls attention
I feel
to
like you're
itself.
going that way. That's funny.
It's
One of the
it's
advantages of
awful.
my trauma is I can put it in my college essay.
It's so sad, but
That's
it's
a great
such
attitude.
True,
No, but it's true because
it's so true.
It's real.
It's so funny when I talk
People
to my friends.
go through
though.
stuff, you know.
My one friend, he's like, I have nothing to write about. Like my life is so boring. I'm like, you're so lucky, and he's like, yeah, but like, I have
Yeah.
nothing to write about. Like in my college essay.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe he could write about his friend Marissa.
Right. Normal.
But it's really it's like a joke, but it's like not.
By the way, Marissa's name is spelled with one S after Marissa. Is it after Marissa Tomei or just like Marissa Tomei?
You know, my
Both.
mother named her
Combination.
because she was supposed to be an Elizabeth
It was supposed
or
to
an
be
Alyssa.
Cecilia or something.
And I when she came out, I was like, she doesn't look like either one of those. And so she was baby girl Garcia for like 48 hours. And then my mom actually said, how about Marissa? And I went, oh, I love that. So it's kind of after her dad.
Yeah, and then
because
they
her
were
dad
like-
is Mario.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's Mari, and then she's
Yeah,
gonna
and then
say
they were
he's
like,
an
let's
IL.
spell it in the worst way possible
I
so
just
that
wanted it to
everyone
be
can spell
simple.
it wrong.
Everyone misspells it. I bet. Yeah.
Marisa, simple.
But they put two S's in.
It's
And
not
now
simple.
everyone's like, 2 R's, 2 S's. I'm like, no. And I never knew any other Marissas. I
Okay,
didn't.
yeah. And
And
except
then
for
it was
Marissa
funny
Tomei.
because then Marissa
Yeah.
Tomei, and she spells it too, just Marisa.
One letter each.
And now you can't find like the little, when you go to New York.
You can't find the license plates.
license plates.
Yeah. The little keychains.
Yeah, you get it spelled
I-
wrong everywhere. It's so
I
awful.
bet that's hard. Yeah.
I'm like, I need another name, like a side name
Dean.
to pick up stuff for.
Dean. We can find Dean, maybe.
Maybe.
Oh, that's a good one. I'll have to look for that.
Why
instead.
not? Dean.
But thank you guys again for coming on, and thank you everyone for listening to Marissa's story. This has been
Really moving.
really, really important, I think, for people to hear. So
And more to come because we're
More to
going to
come.
share it in all kinds of ways, with including all your pictures you're going to send us. So
Excellent.
excellent. All right. Thank you again. Until next time, everybody. Bye-bye.
bye bye.